Hey everybody, I just wanted to try to knock out this second video here on the explain to you the living example, like how I did the process I explained in part one about how to change your mindset and emotional state, right? So there's a lot to unpack here, so I'll try to make it as clean as possible. So if I start at the beginning, and as I look back at how all this kind of erupted and why I like set this up the way I did, is because the universe, God, your heart, whatever, is always trying to nudge you. And that's where things happen in your life. And then you're like, oh, why did this happen to me? Blah, blah, blah. I'm a victim, right? It's trying to get your attention. You're not paying attention to the subtleties. So it smacks you in the face, right? So that's what happened to me when I was in Japan and I was drinking and doing all this stuff and way too bad. And I finally started having panic attacks. So in order to kind of figure out what's going on with that, I learned meditation. I learned how to, like, physiologically what happens to your body and what your body's doing when you have anxiety and panic, and then boom, that helped me expand my consciousness. Learning is important. Knowledge is power, right? It's also proven scientifically that when you know about the benefits of something, or when you know about the how this stuff works, that it helps you become more successful. So that led me to realizing that the stuff that I was doing for my physical body and the injuries wasn't working, and that opened me up to to find emotion code and the energy healing. So I'm following my process. I'm being aware of all this stuff that's happening in my life, how I think and feel and what's going on. And I'm doing my best to, do the meditations and ask the questions and write the journals and couple all that stuff together and try to be happy. And when I'm triggered or whatever, or, pulled out of that, I reset. I do that whole process I explained. And then it brought me to learning about Joe Dispenza and reading his books and learning about quantum physics and like quantum entanglement and the epigenetics and all that kind of stuff. So boom, another expansion, consciousness expansion, learn more. Stuff still wasn't working. It was actually getting worse. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't quite understand, but I'm like in the center of this dark night of the soul. It's not always bad. Everybody experiences this stuff differently. Mine was pretty hard. And then I just keep doing the same process and getting deeper and deeper and deeper, right? And then the next thing happens that comes into my reality because I'm asking for the help and the guidance, and I'm seeking God. And when you seek God through your heart, and you're serious about it, and you're doing the work, and you're taking the responsibility, and you're asking about what's going on and, what you need to do, and you're adding all those components together, boom, you're opening up the pathways for the information to come to you. So then, just all these synchronicities happening with religion and God and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Let's go down that path and see what's happening. And boom, another huge expansion, up leveling. And I'm at that point, able to see what really is going on. I was in the bubble. I was like in the ego energy. I was in the trauma and the emotional hurts that happened when I was a kid. Like I said, I got burned really bad and was scrubbed until I bled, like in the hospital. My dad left when I was like 5. I had a bullying situation happen. This really serious trauma stuff happened, all in the time when you're like in the delta wave state, where you like absorb everything. You absorb all these programs from other people and all this kind of stuff. You're like AI, learning how to be from other people. So my ego had, I realized my ego pretty much created a monster, right? And put up all these walls and defensive mechanisms, and that was a root and went into every aspect of my life. And that's why that's why my fitness was not working real. I mean, I was fit for the most part, but I wanted to be big and strong and look scary to keep people away. Plus I wanted to look a certain way also because I wanted love. I wanted people to love me. I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of love from people, but that's because I wasn't loving myself. And then for trying to start with this job, and do this energy work and push this out to everybody and stuff, I didn't want to do that for several years. Come to find out, it's the same trauma stuff. I didn't want to be vulnerable, right? Because I was vulnerable with my parents and stuff when I was 8 months old, and I was burned, right? So I didn't feel like I was being protected, things like that. So I'm like, oh wow, holy smokes, I get it now. I see all this trauma and stuff defined me and created this monster. So now how do I need to unravel that, right? And then the other part of that mix was that I don't really need to do all of it. I don't do the healing. And that's what I realized when I was in the bubble of the energy. And that's what creates your perception, right? Is the traumas, your own energies. You're seeing through the lens of that energy. The very ego that was trying to protect me from all these hurts, the ego that was suppressing all of the pain and energies and stuff and not letting them out, like thinking it's doing you a good job to keep you free from feeling that pain, was that's where I was trying to heal. I was trying to heal this stuff from the ego, and that's changing matter with matter, like Dr. Dispenza says. So the stuff I learned through like religion and through the Bible and how Jesus worked and how God works, and coupled that, like, because I see how it matches, it's very clear, matches with quantum physics. I'm like, oh, okay, so I got to pull out of that. So I was trying to be in control of everything. The ego was trying to do it all because it wanted to be protected. Instead, it was exactly the opposite. All this resistance was coming in the form of me needing or thinking I had to do stuff to fix it, when in reality, I have to let go. You know what I'm saying? The easiest thing you can do is just let go. Surrender, accept, and let the shit come up. Let all this junk come up and feel it, right? And that can be scary. So we started doing that process, and that process coupled with the process I explained in video 1, and wow, like, now I'm getting this information. Now I'm understanding it. And that's where all of this came from, with how I know that the trauma caused all this stuff with my personality to shape the way it did. So now I'm unraveling it. And we have to take the responsibility and the ownership to do that work, to see ourselves, to see these identities and masks we put on and how we're behaving and acting and why. And we have to ask the questions and do some of the work. But then once we do that, and we're trying to go inward and seek God, divine intelligence, whatever, healing. Once we're doing that, then God heals you. I know a lot of Christians and stuff in a way that it kind of mainstream talks about, oh, just give it to God, let him deal with it. It's not quite how it works, not fully. We are responsible and have to be responsible and take ownership of the shit we do, of our behaviors. If we don't take this action and follow similar steps to what I'm explaining and take the actions, there's other ways to skin this cat, right? But this is how I did it. We got to do that part, and then God comes through with the healing. Source comes through with the healing. Divine intelligence that created us fixes it. We have to get out of our way. Our egos are causing us to be in the way. And that's where the awareness, step 1, awareness and mindfulness of what's going on, what we're thinking and feeling and doing, and what's happening in our life. That's because that's the ego, and we've got to see what it is. We have to become the observer. Once we become the observer, we're no longer in those programs. And I was in that bubble, in that trauma program, and I had to get it out. And that's how, like, through what I learned with the Bible and God, and all that stuff, that's what helped me put everything together and pull myself out so I could see it from a higher view. And then, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm now unraveling all that stuff that I saw and understood. And now I'm practicing embodiment even more, where I'm coming in and defining how I really truly want to be. And I'm bringing that up, higher level emotions, and I'm trying to embody that all day, and I'm doing better with that. And also just that whole letting go process and surrendering process. And now it's all working into stuff, because this energy doesn't want to be here. It doesn't want to be in you. It doesn't want to stay around. Your ego's holding it there for various reasons. So you just got to get out of your way and let it up. Let the stuff go. Feel it, and it'll just go on its own. It'll go away. So it won't go away, though, if you're not surrendering and letting it, and being open to feeling it and hearing what you got to hear, and do some of this work and be responsible for some of this stuff. So that's where we're at now. So it feels really good. It's effective. I've had so much more, I've experienced so much more healing and like awesome stuff happen in my reality in the last few days since I started, since I walked through that fear and walked through the energy of starting this business. Because sometimes, you do a lot of the energy healing or therapy or whatever, but sometimes you have to physically walk through it. You have to physically go past the point where you don't want to go, And that's what I didn't want to start this business. I didn't want to be vulnerable and put myself out there, but I did it. And just in those last couple of days, I've had a flood of energy releasing from me, uploads, like I'm realizing stuff. I'm having new information come in. It's like pretty wild. All these synchronicities happening. It's pretty awesome. So, it all came together. I was trying to do too much, resist too much, instead of just letting go. So here we are. That's where it's at. And I really have it, I think I have it down pretty good. And we're just going to see where it takes us. So I don't know where this is going to go. We're going to see. I'm just trying to allow and be detached from the outcome and be open to what, you know, God or my heart or, you know, the universe, where it wants to take me, what it wants me to do. And I'm just continuing to ask the questions. Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? All that kind of stuff, and just be happy. I'm trying to, like, you know, focus on those high level emotions every time that I'm not happy, because, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, just be happy. It's easy for some people. Other people, it might be difficult. And every time you get knocked off that pedestal, you have to reset and start figuring out, okay, why did that happen? And you use the process I talked about in, you know, video 1. So eventually you'll get here, you know what I mean? And you know, that's the process. That's what I used. I think I covered everything. I may have missed one or two things, but, you know, I just want you to, guys, to understand, like, that stuff is, it's just really important, you know, to take the ownership and to, like, know that you're responsible for this stuff. You know, you can't, like, really, like, go hire, like, a personal trainer and then blame them for you not losing weight because when you go home you eat a gallon of ice cream. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. We have to be responsible to do some of this work, right? So I hope this helps. I hope I explained this well. If I didn't, please let me know. If there's any clarification you need or anything else, you know, I can break this down into different chunks or whatever. I just hope it reaches who it needs to reach and resonates with you. Yeah, so I will head off now. And I love you guys, and happy healing. All right, bye.